What's a Brutale, you ask? Well, translated from Italian, the best I can tell is it means rough, tough, brutal. But one look at this naked sports machine and I'd like to add powerful and sexy to the Canadian definition. At the heart of the Brutale is one of the largest displacement engines ever built by MV Agusta, a fuel-injected 1078cc inline-4 with radial valves, reported to deliver close to 145 ponies. And in an effort to keep the rubber firmly planted to the tarmac, MV Agusta has added 8 levels of selectable traction control. Speaking of suspension, the Brutale's chrome moly steel tube frame is mated to a Marzocchi 50mm upside-down fork and a Sachs single rear shock out back, both multi-adjustable. Of course, the double R version comes with a few more high-tech tricks, like an adjustable steering head and monoblock Brembos. This pair of street fighters certainly aced the tail of the tape, but do they deliver the goods? Well, thanks to the nice folks at Shannonville Motorsports Park, we were able to give these MVs a proper workout. And here's what one veteran motorcycle journalist and one pro road racer had to say after going a few rounds in the saddle.
Basically what we have is a sort of a regular version and a deluxe version. So the issues over here, different geometry and adjustable steering head, which is a nice feature, but not necessary maybe for the street. The Brembo brakes over there are lovely brakes. These are Brembo monoblock, and these are Steve Crevier level brakes. These are beyond lovely, and they are super, super powerful. This has some carbon trim. I think the mirrors and the turn signals are slightly different in terms of the way they're integrated. The suspension is a little more sophisticated. So this is, and this one has a few accessory items, like for instance this retro suede seat. And the first MV Agusta I ever saw that I rode had a suede seat back in the 70s, so that's a homage to some of the earlier design. So very similar bikes, but this one is a little more sophisticated, a little more in the way of bells and whistles, maybe a little bit more performance. The reason that these bikes work is they are a performance motorcycle, a true modern sport bike, but in a layout that's a little more comfortable, a little more practical, certainly a lot better around town, a day-to-day short distance traveler. So you don't get the full-blown race replica and you don't deliver the bike with all the body work and everything, but on the flip side, much more practical, a little more comfortable, maybe a little nicer for a passenger, and also you can access the performance a little bit more because of that supermoto, sit-up, street fighter, whatever you want to call it, riding position. And of course, the thing that anyone who's ridden a modern sport bike that has the trim level of the street fighter is it's really fun. From the moment you let the clutch out, it is lots of fun.
I've had a few other naked bikes out in the track, and I often a little nervous because the ground clearance isn't quite what I'm used to, and very often you get to the second corner and all of a sudden you're scraping foot pegs and everything. So yeah, but this, boy, I tell you, by the time I went around the second and third corner, there's no issues with ground clearance. This is a very roomy bike. It's got nice wide tall handlebars, so you can use a lot of leverage to get it turned. So yeah, I was initially a little bit apprehensive, but by the time about the third corner came around, I was comfortable. This has got great power, and it's completely linear, right from idle right up to redline. No glitches anywhere, nice and smooth everywhere. And like the F4, this has got the most amazing slipper clutch. So, when you go to downshift to turn 2 here, you just downshift, drop the clutch, no revving the throttle, it just is beautiful. I really like the riding position. The riding position is a little bit more upright than a pure race replica bike. There's lots of room between the seat and the foot pegs. The foot pegs are adjustable, the rear brake, the gear shift, everything's very adjustable. But it's a nice upright riding position with wide bars, give you a lot of leverage to turn. But one thing I've found, especially with this seat, is that it plants you right in the middle. And if you want to sort of lean off the side, the shape of it is really nice. You know exactly where you are. It isn't a rolled edge. It's actually got a little bit of a lip here. So it's really nice. You can get into a corner, get your seat planted on the seat. You know exactly where you are. I was getting on the second lap, I had my knee down in the corners with it, which is pretty cool for a street bike. It's a pretty cool bike. I mean, definitely it's a street bike. This is no, racer replica by any means. But I tell you, it's For me, it's more comfortable being, I'm over 6 feet, and you know, a race replica bike gets a little tight through between the seat and the pegs, and often the handlebars are a little much of a reach. And you know, if you're doing a 10-lap race or a 15-lap race, it's good because it gets the job done. But if you're going to spend more than about half an hour, this is what I'd want to be on. And I think anybody who wants a bike that they can, you know, go out for an evening, go out for a day-long cruise, bring it to the racetrack and do lap days. I bet somebody put some nice sticky tires on this, you could probably run near pro superbike lap times on this, and then put the mirrors back on and ride it home.